Well, congratulations. You are on your very last lesson of this course, Raising Confident Girls, helping her to be confident in her relationships. And you've been working on all the different facets, from boundaries to talking about racism. And today you're going to talk about conflict resolution. I know it's been a bit of a heavier year as we've been processing a lot of where our daughters are at this age. But truth be told, conflict resolution is at the beginning or at the baseline of every relationship throughout her entire life. So you can't spend enough time on this conversation. A confident girl actually is able to move towards her relationships, to move through conflict, rather than to avoid it, to go around it, or to pretend it's not there. We really want our daughters to learn how to own their contributions to conflicts, to name when they've been hurt, and to know how to give forgiveness and ask for forgiveness. I'm so grateful that you're taking time to do this because your relationship with your daughter is actually a fantastic way for her to grow in conflict resolution. There's plenty of material, right, for us as moms and daughters to have conflict. And I just want to encourage you that if you're having conflict in your relationship, one, it means you're human. And two, it means that you have an opportunity to grow more intimate with your daughter. In fact, the most healthy relationships, the most intimate relationships are ones where we actually deal with our conflict. We grow closer as we build trust actually, as we talk through the ways that we hurt one another. You're going to talk a little bit about your different conflict strategies as mom and daughter. God designed us with a lot of different wirings, and so I bring in the core values index into this equation. It's an assessment that my husband and I have used for over 10 years. It helps us to know our God-designed, hardwired nature. And reality is that each of us have a way that we deal with conflict. Their terms might be unfamiliar to you, and you don't have to take this assessment to make this lesson valuable to you. But it would be helpful for you to know your core values and your daughter's core values, and you can see where you guys line up and where you're different. It's kind of like a language, a cultural norm that both of you use. And so there's merchants, builders, innovators, and bankers. And without getting into the full depth of this, in fact, if you want to know more about the core values, you can listen to our podcast, the Living Wholehearted podcast. We go into depth in the 2nd through 5th episode, as well as 142nd and 143rd episode. Jeff and I talk more about conflict resolution there. But merchants really struggle with manipulating when they're in conflict. Builders, they struggle with intimidating. And the innovators struggle with what's called interrogating. It's a way of using questions to make people feel belittled. And the bankers, they do aloof judgment. They go quiet, they pull away, and they judge you in their mind. So depending on what your daughter's conflict style is and what your conflict style is, it makes for a pretty fancy dance, right? And can get really complicated at times. So this conversation is going to help you identify those and to come up with some healthy strategies. You're going to talk about how to own where you've done something wrong, how to communicate well, how to listen to one another, and then how to ask forgiveness and what it means to actually offer forgiveness. Sometimes we just don't feel like forgiving one another when we're in a conflict or coming out of a conflict. And often the merchants and the banker types have the hardest time with getting over their violations, where the builders and the innovators often want to move faster and say, hey, past is in the past, let's move on. Regardless of how you guys are wired, you're going to be able to understand one another a little better. And I'm going to even give you an opportunity to practice making something right. Because my guess is you probably have some hurts between the two of you. And this will be an opportunity to talk about it. It might not be something big. It might be something small. But I want you to practice with one another. Start with your relationship with your daughter as you work through these skills. And then maybe you can talk about siblings and working within family units. And then you can move out into the community with friendships. This is a lifelong practice that most of us adults are still working on, but you're giving your daughter a leg up so that she can be a confident girl and have healthy relationships. And I'm so excited that you're being this intentional with her because you and I are going to be raising daughters who not only know how to navigate conflict, but can recognize that in their own humanity, they contribute to hurting people and they can know how to make it right. One of my favorite things about our faith is that we have second chances, that we can make things right. And that a confident girl, again, moves towards her relationships, not away. So, open the door to asking your daughter, how have you hurt her lately? How are you influencing her? How are you making it safe for her to be who God made her to be? And see what she says. Do a good job listening. Take deep breaths. Try to keep your defensiveness down and have an opportunity to ask forgiveness and to model owning something and restoring. And notice what it feels like on the other side of going through conflict and having some resolution. I'm so grateful you said yes to this journey to pursue your daughter's heart and to help her grow her confidence in healthy relationships. I know 100% that God is using you to lead your daughter for such a time as this.